Hi, my name is Dr.
Gaukhar Baidildinova.
This video is a part of my lectures on evidence-based medicine and epidemiology. There are various sources from where we can get biomedical information or, in simple words, information regarding health. I divided it into 3 categories. These, what I call wiki buddies, websites like WebMD and Healthline, gray literature, and scholarly literature. The scientificity increases from left to right. To each of these sources, I will record a separate lecture, but today we will talk specifically about the scientific articles. All scientific literature is divided into 4 categories. First, primary or original research is published as scientific articles. They also come in another form, preprints. The second category is secondary literature or reviews. The third category is tertiary literature. And the fourth category, not as obvious, is specialized literature. Primary literature consists of articles communicating new knowledge, original research, and/or scientific discoveries. They provide immediate results of research activities. All possible types of research that can be described in scientific articles are reflected in this diagram. I discussed these in the video on the hierarchy of evidence, observational and experimental clinical studies. The link, as I've mentioned, is in the info box. Such articles are the most important source of information in science. They are extensively read during doctoral studies and throughout scientific careers, and I will be covering them in several upcoming videos. A technical note, or technical innovation, is an article describing surgical or medical methods or procedures, new devices or technologies. Regarding preprints, I already have a lecture on my channel. Special articles. Other types of scientific articles include letters to the editor, correspondence, short communications, editorials opinion, commentaries, and pictorial essay. By their nature, they can be primary or secondary. Editorials, opinion articles, commentaries, and perspective articles traditionally express the opinion and viewpoint of the author. Letters to the editor and correspondence are usually short in length. They can be written on any topic of interest to a reader and often include feedback on previously published articles. In principle, they are similar to social media posts, but from a scientist and supported by some conclusions based on scientific facts. These forms of articles should be objective, constructive, and supported by a limited number of references. When a letter addresses a previously published article, the editor usually invites the author of the original article to provide a written response, which is published alongside the letter to the editor. Letters can also be used to propose new hypotheses and draw readers' attention to important issues affecting clinical practices. In fact, the first publication about the DNA double helix by Watson and Crick, 1953, was a letter to the editor published in Nature. Short scientific communications usually present a brief summary of preliminary results or initial research findings that are not yet ready for a full presentation. Such communications are useful because they can stimulate discussion, leading to additional ideas and collaborations. Editorial articles most often take the form of a brief review or critique of an original article accepted for publication in the same journal issue. Editorials are called that because they are usually written or assigned by the journal's editor. Commentaries are short articles describing the author's personal experience with a specific topic. Usually, the topic is controversial, and the author presents different viewpoints before moving on to their own conclusions. A pictorial essay is a special type of educational article based on qualitative visual materials. The text is relatively minimal, with the majority of the article consisting of diagrams and photographs. They look like regular articles, but with more photos. Let's take a look together. A summary on special articles. The letter to the editor is short and focuses on the object of the reader's interest. Short communication summarizes preliminary results. Editorials are often a short review or critique of the original article. A commentary is a short article with the author's personal opinion. Pictorial essay, teaching article with photo material. I also have 2 paid courses on Udemy. The Critical Assessment of Clinical Studies teaches how to read and critically evaluate clinical studies. It's a very great course. The same as my second course, Scientific Writing, where I tell all the nuances of how to write a scientific article or dissertation. Links are in the description box. Secondary literature or review articles. There are 3 types of secondary literature: narrative review articles, systematic reviews, and meta-analyses. Secondary literature summarizes, analyzes, and interprets original research, making it easier to locate and evaluate primary literature. A literature review is a detailed analysis of recent studies on a specific topic. A narrative review article provides an authoritative and comprehensive analysis of a particular subject, but is more descriptive than a systematic review. It does not present new data, but often leads to the formulation of new hypotheses. It is common for journal editors to personally invite specific researchers to write a review. Such reviews are called invited reviews. All three types, narrative review, systematic review, and meta-analysis, are not independent categories, but rather can be compared to nested layers, like matryoshka dolls. Each subsequent type follows a stricter methodology, making its results more valuable. As you can see, systematic reviews build upon narrative reviews by providing greater detail, while meta-analyses go even further by assessing the quality of each included study. A systematic review typically focuses on a specific clinical question and conducts a comprehensive literature search to identify studies with robust methodology. The studies are screened, evaluated, and summarized according to predefined review criteria. Every systematic review must be registered in the Prospero system beforehand. For example, a colleague of mine conducted a meta-analysis but did not register it, and, as a result, received 5 rejections from journals specifically for this reason. A systematic review follows a strict protocol, known as the Prisma flow diagram. I'll provide a reference to the article and the algorithm in the description. When I wrote my literature review, I was not aware of this requirement. Methodologically, my review was almost systematic, and towards the end, my supervisor suggested making it fully systematic. However, by that point, I discovered it was too late. Not only did it need to be registered from the start, but it also had to strictly follow the Prisma flow diagram. Had I done this from the beginning, my review would have counted as an experimental chapter of my PhD dissertation. A strategic lesson learned. A meta-analysis takes a systematic review one step further by statistically combining all results using widely accepted methodologies. Meta-analyses can be recognized by the presence of forest plots in their results. Tertiary literature. From the diagram presented, it is already clear what tertiary literature represents. Tertiary literature summarizes or condenses material from secondary literature, which is already considered widely accepted knowledge. Reference books, manuals, and encyclopedias published in specialized fields belong to tertiary literature. They are based on long-established knowledge that has already been published in secondary sources. Tertiary literature provides a broader overview of a topic or data and is often presented in a more accessible format.